You know that feeling, right? Just drowning in information sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Especially with tech stuff.
Exactly. You see some complicated product name, all jargon, and you just want someone to, like, tell you what it is clearly.
Cut through the noise.
Precisely. And that's what we're doing today. We're diving deep into one specific, pretty powerful piece of AV tech.
Sounds good. What have we got?
Okay, get ready for the name. Our mission is unpacking the WolfPack Sports Bar 4K 30Hz 8x9 HDMI Matrix Switcher over CC6 with apps and WBBDI.
Yeah, that's definitely a mouthful. Rolls right off the tongue.
I know, right? It sounds super technical, maybe even a bit scary, like something only a pro integrator would deal with.
Sure, it sounds complex.
But stick with us. We promise we'll break it all down, make it make sense. We're using the official info here, product descriptions, the spec sheets, even those FAQs people usually skip.
And it's worth understanding this stuff, even if you're not installing one yourself. This kind of device, it's often the hidden backbone of, well, complex AV setups.
Hidden is right. You don't usually see it.
No. But it's crucial for getting smooth video everywhere. Understanding this gives you a peek behind the curtain, how these big multi-screen systems actually work, whether it's a sports bar or maybe even a really high-end home setup.
All right, let's start peeling back the layers then. Fundamentally, what is this WolfPack thing actually for? What's its basic job?
Okay, so think of it like a really smart traffic cop for your HD video and audio. You've got, say, 8 different things you want to watch. Could be cable boxes, Blu-ray players, game consoles, whatever. 8 sources.
8 sources, okay.
And you've got 9 different screens or TVs you want to watch them on. This switcher lets you send the picture and sound from any of those 8 sources to any of those 9 screens.
Any to any.
Exactly. And it does this over standard CT6 network cables. That's a big deal because CT6 can carry the signal much further than a regular HDMI cable.
Right. HDMI has distance limits.
It really does. And the matrix part means total flexibility. One source to one screen, fine. Same source to all 9 screens.
Yep. Any
weird combination you want, it can handle it all at the same time.
Now, the description calls it a true 8x9. You mentioned that's kind of specific. Why not just, an 8x8 plus 1 extra?
Good question. It seems like a small detail, but it's about the hardware inside. A true 8x9 means it doesn't just have 9 HDMI output ports. It has 9 completely separate, independent HDMI extenders built in.
Extenders?
Yeah, the bits that prepare the signal to travel over that long CT6 cable run. Each output gets its own dedicated extender hardware. It's not sharing resources.
So true independence for each screen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that 9th output. They even mention a specific use case for it, sending audio directly to a soundbar that has an HDMI input. So you can dedicate audio without using up one of your main video outputs. It's quite flexible.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So with that kind of power routing, anything, anywhere, where do you actually find these things in the real world? Give us some examples.
Well, the source material lists quite a few, and it shows how versatile it is. Obvious places are like sports bars, restaurants, casinos, anywhere with lots of TVs needing different feeds.
The entertainment hubs.
Definitely. But also think bowling alleys, fitness centers, maybe even malls. Places of worship sometimes need this flexibility too.
Malls? Really?
Yeah, for digital signage maybe. Or think about business uses conference rooms for complex presentations, maybe factories displaying data on multiple screens, even data centers for monitoring different systems.
Huh. Factories and data centers. Didn't expect that.
It's all about managing multiple video sources across many displays reliably. Oh, and high-end home theaters, of course. If you've got screens in multiple rooms, this could be the brain. Nail salons, country clubs, the list goes on.
Wow, okay. So it's not just for sports bars, despite the name.
Not at all. That's just one key market, I guess.
All right, so we know what it does and where it lives, but what makes this particular WolfPack switcher stand out? There must be other matrix switchers out there. What are its key features, its selling points?
A big one is definitely the control flexibility, how you actually tell it what to switch. You've got buttons on the front panel, sure, an IR remote, but also more advanced stuff like RS-232 control. That's a standard serial port for direct commands, good for integration. Ethernet control over TCP/IP, so you can control it across a network. There's WEB GUI, basically a web page you can access to control.
Oh, a web interface. That's handy.
Very. And dedicated apps for Android and iPad. Plus, for the really big integrated systems, you can get optional drivers for Crestron, Elan, Control4. Those are major smart home and automation systems.
So basically, however you want to control it, you probably can.
Pretty much. That flexibility is huge, especially in demanding places like, yeah, a busy sports bar or a conference center. You need reliable, easy control.
Makes sense. Now, beyond controlling it, what about the picture and sound quality? How does it make sure the signal stays clean after all that switching and extending?
Yeah, this is crucial. It's not just passively passing the signal along. The specs say it actively processes the HDMI signal.
Processes it how?
It retimes the signal, compensates for any level drops, corrects phase errors. It even eliminates something called data jitter.
Jitter, like shakiness.
Sort of, but in the digital signal timing. Little inconsistencies that can mess up the picture or sound. By cleaning all that up, the claim is it outputs a regenerated, brand new, perfect HDMI signal.
Wow, brand new perfect. That's bold.
It is. The goal is no loss of quality. And importantly, they claim it switches quickly without any flashing. That's a common annoyance with cheaper switchers. You switch inputs, and the screen goes black for ages.
Oh, yeah. Hate that. How quick is quick here?
They quote a fast response time around 2 seconds, which for switching potentially complex 4K signals is pretty decent. It keeps the viewing experience smooth.
Okay, 2 seconds, no flashing, regenerated signal. That sounds good.
Oh.
What about EDID? That often causes headaches. How does this handle ED management?
EDID, Extended Display Identification Data. Yeah, that can be tricky. EDD is basically how your TV tells the source device, like your cable box, what resolutions and formats it can handle.
Like a digital handshake.
Exactly. The switcher is pretty smart about it. It supports 23 different ED profiles internally, including special ones for all 9 outputs, plus 15 others it can just use.
Why so many?
To maximize compatibility. It can basically create a summary ED that represents all the connected TVs and sends that back to the source device. The source says this eliminates the source trying to adjust the resolution dynamically to fit the TVs.
So the switcher kind of negotiates the best compatible signal for everything.
Right. It prevents the source from getting confused by potentially conflicting information from different TVs, makes things much more plug and play. And there's also an ED learning function.
Learning, what does that do?
If you have one specific TV that's being difficult, you can tell the switcher to learn its specific ED and use that. It's a troubleshooting tool. The source even suggests, as a fallback, setting it to output a basic 720p stereo signal if you have a really diverse or problematic mix of displays, just to ensure something works everywhere.
Okay, that EDID handling sounds quite robust. Useful for installers, I bet.
Definitely reduces setup headaches.
Are there any other, maybe smaller, practical features worth mentioning? Things that make life easier?
Yeah, a few nice touches.
Yeah.
It's a 1U rack size.
Yeah.
That's standard equipment rack height, just 1 unit high. Makes it easy to install neatly in a rack using the included mounting ears.
Compact.
And a really big one, it has no fan. It's passively cooled.
No fans, so it's quiet.
Completely silent operation. That's great because you can put it in the room, like in a home theater cabinet or behind the bar, without adding any annoying background hum.
Oh, that is a good point. Fans can be surprisingly loud.
They really can. Plus, it supports HDMI deep color for richer colors and full 2D and 3D video.
And the core specs, like resolution and stuff.
It handles 4K at 30 Hertz, specifically mentioning 4.2.0 chroma subsampling at 10 gigabits per second. That's a common way to transmit 4K 30 efficiently. It's HDCP 1.4 compliant, which is the copy protection standard needed for most commercial content. HDMI 1.4 compliant too. So good for up to 1080p 60 and that 4K 30. Pretty comprehensive. Supports up to 7.1 channel digital audio, including formats like Dolby True HD and DTS HD Master Audio. So high-quality surround sound is covered.
Got it. Okay, let's shift focus slightly. Thinking beyond just the box itself, how does it play with other equipment? You mentioned RS-232 and network control for integration.
Right. Integration is key for complex systems. The RS-232 port is a common way to connect it to third-party control systems. Think AMX, Crestron, Control4, Savant, those kinds of controllers.
And the source actually gives an example command, right?
It does, which is quite helpful for developers. It says if you want to switch input 8 to, say, outputs 1, 2, and 5 simultaneously, the command you send over RS-232 is simply 8 by 1 and 2 and 5.
8 by 1 and 2 and 5, and then a period.
Exactly. That period at the end is crucial, tells the matrix the command is finished, and it even talks back. It replies, okay if the command was valid, or ERR if you messed it up. That feedback is super useful when you're programming a control system.
Okay, or ERR, simple feedback. Makes debugging easier, I imagine.
Absolutely. Saves a lot of guesswork for the integrator.
Now, speaking of integration and cost, The source had this really interesting tip for end users wanting a big control system, but maybe finding the quotes a bit high.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. What was it again?
It basically said, if you want a whole house system from one of those big control companies, but the price is too steep, try this. First, get a quote directly from the hardware supplier, like for this WolfPack Matrix.
Okay, get the hardware cost first.
Right. Then, take that hardware list to a local installer or reseller for the control system brand you want and say, look, here's the gear I want to use. Can you give me a quote just for programming the software and doing the physical installation?
Ah, breaking down the costs. Hardware versus programming and labor.
Exactly. The source claims you can often save thousands on larger systems this way by sourcing the hardware more directly and just paying the integrator for their specific services.
That's a pretty savvy tip for someone trying to manage a budget on a big project. Gives you more control over the hardware choices and costs.
Definitely something for listeners to keep in mind if they're looking at that kind of setup. Now, one more integration point, video walls. Can this matrix create a video wall effect?
Good question. The source is clear on this. The switcher itself cannot support a video wall function, meaning it can't take one input and automatically chop it up and spread it across multiple screens to make one giant picture.
Okay, so no built-in video wall processing.
Correct. However, it can be part of a video wall system. It can work with specialized video wall displays or processors, the ones that do know how to splice images together. The Matrix can send them RS232 commands to tell them how to arrange the video.
So it acts as the source selector for the video wall controller.
Right, precisely. It feeds the right content to the devices that actually create the video wall effect. So it enables it, but doesn't do the splicing itself.
Okay, that distinction makes sense. So wrapping things up a bit, this WolfPack 8x9 Matrix Switcher.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really solid piece of kit.
Yeah, it seems to be. Powerful, lots of ways to control it. Seems focused on signal quality and reliability.
Right. You've got that true 8x9 routing, the signal regeneration, the smart EDID stuff, silent operation, all those control options. It's designed for complex jobs, but seems to have user-friendliness in mind, too, with the apps and web GUI.
It definitely bridges the gap between pro-level features and accessibility.
And understanding a device like this, even if you never install one, really does give you a better feel for what's going on behind the scenes in so many places we visit. You know, that sports bar, the mall display, maybe even your office conference room.
Absolutely. It's the hidden tech, making our visual world work seamlessly. Or, well, mostly seamlessly.
Huh, true. So maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on. As we see demand for higher resolutions, 4K is common now, 8K is coming, and people wanting more dynamic multi-screen setups everywhere.
Yeah, from those complex sports bars to really immersive home theaters.
How is that going to keep pushing this kind of matrix switching technology? What are the next big challenges? Will be handling even higher bandwidths, making integration even simpler? Or maybe dealing with new types of displays and sources?
That's the big question, isn't it? Pushing visual fidelity and integration further always brings new hurdles. Definitely something to watch in the AV space. How do we manage all that complexity reliably and, ideally, affordably?
Food for thought indeed. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the WolfPack HDMI Matrix Switcher. Hopefully you feel a bit more clued into the tech that powers so much of what we see every day.